The city lights blurred into streaks of neon as Alex Reed pushed his car to its limits. The hum of the engine was a constant reminder of the urgency of his mission. Engine roaring, tires screaming against the asphalt, he weaved through the late-night traffic. Each turn, each swerve, was a calculated risk, a dance with danger. His heart pounded in his chest, a frantic rhythm against the backdrop of the pulsating city. Every breath he took was shallow, quick, as if the very air was charged with electricity. Sweat slicked his palms as he gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles bone white under the dim glow of the dashboard. The tension was palpable, almost suffocating. He glanced at the passenger seat, a fleeting moment of distraction. A worn photograph lay there, the edges frayed, the image faded. It was a relic of happier times, a stark contrast to the present. It was Sarah, his sister. Her smile, once a beacon of joy, now a haunting reminder of what was at stake. Her smiling face, frozen in time, mocked his current predicament. The weight of his failure pressed down on him. The broker had her, held captive, a pawn in his twisted game. Alex's mind raced with thoughts of rescue and revenge.
Alex's phone buzzed, a jarring interruption to the roaring in his ears. The broker. The name alone sent a shiver down his spine. A gravelly voice seeped through the speaker, laced with amusement and a chilling calmness. It was a voice that promised pain.
"You're late, Alex. Don't make me wait." The words were a threat, thinly veiled in mockery. "Come alone, or the consequences will be dire." The message was clear, the stakes higher than ever.
The call ended. Silence filled the car, a brief respite from the chaos. Alex tossed the phone onto the passenger seat, frustration and fear mingling in his gut. Fear coiled in his stomach, a cold knot of dread. The unknown loomed ahead, dark and foreboding. He had to save Sarah. Failure was not an option. He had to face the broker. The confrontation was inevitable, but could he live with the consequences? The question lingered, unanswered, as he sped into the night. The abandoned warehouse loomed ahead, a skeletal silhouette against the night sky. Its broken windows stared back like empty sockets, promising danger within. Alex parked a distance away, the engine ticking as it cooled in the stillness of the night. He stepped out, the metallic tang of fear heavy in his throat. He touched the worn leather of his shoulder holster, the weight of the weapon a familiar comfort. Revenge was a dish best served cold, they said. But tonight, vengeance burned hot within him, fueled by fear and desperation.
The warehouse was shrouded in an eerie silence. The only sound was the distant rumble of traffic and the frantic thump-thump of Alex's own heart. He entered cautiously, his senses on high alert. The air hung thick with the scent of dust and decay, a grim foreshadowing of what lay ahead. A single light flickered in the distance, casting long, dancing shadows. He moved towards it, his footsteps echoing in the cavernous space.
As he approached, a figure emerged from the darkness. The broker.
Damn it, he's one step ahead of us again.
Detective Lena Graves slammed her fist on the table, rattling the files spread out before her. The frustration was palpable, a testament to the months of relentless pursuit. Pictures of Alex and the broker stared back at her, their faces grim reminders of the case that consumed her. Each photo was a piece of a puzzle she was desperate to solve. Lena had been chasing Alex for months, ever since he disappeared from the agency, his career ending in a storm of accusations and unanswered questions. The storm had left a trail of chaos in its wake. Now, a rogue agent, he was a ghost, a shadow moving in the city's underbelly. His every move was calculated, every step a challenge to track. But Lena knew one thing. Tonight, he was hunting, and she was determined to be there when he cornered his prey. Her phone buzzed. An anonymous tip.
Warehouse district. Abandoned canning factory. He's there.
The voice was distorted, untraceable, but the information was golden. It was the break she had been waiting for. Lena grabbed her jacket, a steely glint in her eyes. This was her chance to end the chase.
Get the team ready. We're going hunting.
As her team raced through the city streets, sirens wailing in the night, the urgency was palpable. Lena couldn't shake off a feeling of unease. The stakes were higher than ever. Alex was playing a dangerous game, and she couldn't help but feel that he was in over his head. The lines between hunter and hunted were blurring, but she also knew something else. She was the only one who could bring him in alive. The weight of that responsibility was immense, but Lena was ready.
"You came alone, I see."
The broker's voice was a raspy whisper that echoed in the vast emptiness of the warehouse. He stood beneath the single bare bulb, his features obscured by the shadows. Beside him, bound and gagged, sat Sarah. Her eyes widened with a flicker of hope as she saw Alex.
Let her go.
Alex growled, his hand hovering near his holster. His gaze darted around the room, searching for any sign of a trap. He knew the broker. The man thrived on chaos, on watching his enemies squirm.
Always so impatient, Alex. We have unfinished business to attend to. A trade, if you will. Your sister for the information you stole.
Alex's fingers tightened around the butt of his gun. He knew he shouldn't trust the broker, but the sight of his sister, her fear palpable even from a distance, fueled his desperation. Was he willing to make a deal with the devil to save her? Could he afford not to? The air crackled with tension as Alex slowly approached the table, his heart pounding in his chest like a war drum. His every movement measured, calculated, as if each step was a chess move in a deadly game. Each step was a gamble, a roll of the dice in a game where the stakes were life and death. The dim lights of the warehouse cast long shadows, adding to the sense of impending doom.
He kept his eyes locked on the broker, wary of any sudden movements, any hint of treachery. The broker was known for his cunning and ruthlessness.
The files, the broker demanded, his voice sharp as a razor's edge, cutting through the thick silence.
He gestured towards a worn leather briefcase lying open on the table, its contents displayed like a prize, a treasure trove of secrets. Alex recognized them instantly. The files he had risked everything to obtain, the culmination of months of planning and danger. Files that held secrets capable of bringing down a criminal empire, secrets that could change the balance of power in the underworld.
With a deep breath, Alex placed the briefcase on the table, his hand lingering on the worn leather, feeling the weight of his decisions.
He glanced at Sarah, her eyes pleading with him, a silent question hanging in the air. She was his anchor, his reason for fighting. He couldn't let her down. He wouldn't. The resolve in his eyes was unshakable.
"Now release her!" Alex demanded, his voice a low growl filled with barely contained fury.
He kept his hand near his weapon, ready to draw at the slightest provocation. The tension was palpable, a coiled spring ready to snap. The warehouse was a tinderbox, and one wrong move could ignite the flames of violence. The air was thick with anticipation, every second stretching into an eternity. The broker's laughter echoed through the warehouse, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Alex's spine.
You think this is over? You were always too trusting, Alex. A fatal flaw.
In a flash, the warehouse erupted into chaos. Gunfire ripped through the air, shattering the tense silence. Alex dove for cover as the broker's men swarmed into the open, their weapons spitting fire. The smell of gunpowder filled the air, acrid and sharp. He drew his own weapon, returning fire with deadly precision. Years of training kicked in, his movements honed to instincts. He fought his way towards Sarah, his heart pounding against his ribs, a drumbeat of urgency in the chaos. Lena Graves and her team burst through the warehouse doors, guns drawn. The night exploded in a cacophony of shouting, gunfire, and the clatter of equipment. Lena scanned the scene, her eyes searching for Alex amidst the chaos. She had to reach him before it was too late. Alex reached Sarah, cutting her loose from the chair where she was bound. Relief flooded him, momentarily eclipsing the fear that clawed at his throat. But his relief was short-lived. As he helped Sarah to her feet, he felt a searing pain in his shoulder. He looked down to see a dark stain blooming on his shirt, the metallic scent of blood filling his nostrils. He had been shot. Turning, he saw the muzzle flash, saw the look of cold calculation in the broker's eyes. But it wasn't the broker who held the gun. It was Sarah. "You..." Alex gasped, his voice a strangled whisper. Betrayal, sharp and cold, cut through him like a shard of ice. He couldn't believe it, couldn't comprehend it. The woman he had risked everything to save had betrayed him. Sarah said, her voice trembling. But in her eyes, Alex saw something else. Not regret, but fear. A desperate plea for understanding. S4. Media Group. Woman pleading with a man at night in an urban setting. Emotional conversation between a man and woman in a city at night at stock at distribute _ I'm sorry, Alex. Before Alex could question Sarah, the warehouse doors burst open again. This time, it wasn't Lena Graves. A group of heavily armed men stormed in, their faces grim, their movements precise and deadly. They fanned out, taking control of the situation, their weapons trained on the broker and his remaining men. "It's over!" A voice boomed from the doorway. A tall man with steely eyes and a commanding presence stepped into the light. He held a badge in one hand, a gun in the other.
"FBI,"
he said, his voice leaving no room for argument. The broker, his face contorted in a snarl, threw his hands up in surrender. His men followed suit, their bravado gone, replaced by a cold dread. The game had changed. The tables turned in a way none of them had anticipated. Alex, still reeling from his wound and Sarah's betrayal, watched the scene unfold with a sense of numb disbelief. Nothing made sense. Who were these men? And what did they want with the broker? The FBI agent approached Alex, his expression unreadable.
Alex Reed?
He asked, his tone clipped and professional. Alex nodded, clutching at his wounded shoulder. The pain was a dull roar now, but the blood loss was making him lightheaded. He leaned against a nearby crate, his legs feeling unsteady.
We need to talk, both of you.
The agent said, his gaze flicking to Sarah, who stood frozen, her face pale. As Alex allowed himself to be ushered out of the warehouse, the night air cool against his skin, he couldn't shake off the feeling that he was caught in a web far more intricate, far more dangerous than he could have ever imagined. But amidst the confusion, the pain, and the betrayal, a flicker of hope ignited within him. He was alive, and whatever game was being played, he was determined to uncover the truth. For himself, and for Sarah, even if he still couldn't understand why she had done it.